All right, part one: work on freight train cars. Section A, general survey of the work. For the people outside the circles are aware that there are a quarter of a million men engaged in building and repairing railway cars. Fewer still are aware of the wide variety of the work involved with the maintenance of the equipment and skill, knowledge, and qualifications necessary to perform the railway car. This is the most complex type of the structure than the house. This is because it's the most serve the greater the norm the purpose for the under greater variety of the conditions that due to the house. The house is built only from upright and movability stability, but the railway car is built for the movement while carrying heavy loads of the many different with characteristic weight. They must withstand the stress and strains. Oxygen received the switch and around when the stopped and started in long, heavy trains. The rigorous of the service makes it the use of bolts and iron rods and other metal with the reinforcement necessary in the car construction, in addition to have the common methods of joinery used for the housing building. The car runs on flange wheels and it is held with the rails below running on a lateral press with the wheel flange against with the wheels of the truck. The stack structure is designed to hold the wheels in position under the car that's equally distributed with the car weight. The wheels provided with the springs between the body of the car and the wheels lessen the shock when the car is in motion. Every car has two trucks. The weight of the car rests directly upon the center beam of the truck and called with the truck bolster. Upon the truck bolster is the center of the circular plate called the truck center plate. This is the corresponding plate of the body of the car, which fits the trucks and the center plate together. They are acted on with a switch which allows independent movement of the truck when the car is going around curve. The top of the center plates are fixed to heavy transverse beams, one or near each of the end of the car. These beams are called with the body bolster, forming the foundation of the car body. The superstructure of the car is built upon heavy longitudinal timbers, which are rest upon the two body bolsters. The ends of the longitudinal timbers and sills are intended into true transverse end sills. The posts of the cars are fitted into the side end sills. The top of the posts are fitted to the side of the end plates, which are the top of the car, with the same relation relatively position at the side of the end sills at its bottom lighter. Transversal longitudinal timbers are called the car liners and purliners, respectively, are joined to the plates and from the framework of the roof. The superstructure of the car is described and similar to the house of the structure, except with the joint differently. On the house, the longitudinal sills are laid with the gained in the ends of sills, but the sills of the car are joined together with the tenons and mortises, which are stronger with the joint and safe the spaces. Unlike a house, the sills of the car cannot be supported by the house. The distance between supported by the distance of supported by post cannot be supported by posts. The distance between the body of the bolster, which the rest upon the greater underload of the sill, would sag where they would not be supported with the transverse timbers on each side of the car. Center of the timbers are unsupported heavily tightly. The draw rods extending for the length of the car. The rods rest upon the body of the bolster and fasten to the end sill. The stresses strained due to the movement of the car and the shifting of the load carrying the wood soon burst out of the walls of the car, where they not hold together more securely than the walls of the house. Particularly, every joint of the frame of the car's superstructure is reinforced with iron rods. The great structure which the rail car is subjected to is dissipated through the mechanical mechanism, which is the car is drawn, but only many of the cars, especially in passenger service, buffer appropriate apparatuses assist. The general characteristic of the railway car and page of the following difference of the structure of the car that describe no other vehicle constructed with the greater than number of the requirements. The majority of the 2.6 million cars in the United States, the freight service, the work necessary with the maintenance and reform by the Carmen. The Carmen repairs the maintenance when required with the construction of the car's equipment, with the care of the freight train, with the repairs maintained with the good condition of all the work equipment used with the railroad, and maintenance for the right of way and the construction of the bridges, etc. Most of the work is concerned with the cars that carry the freight. There are divided in three general classes: house car, gondola car, and flat car. The house car division are all box cars, grain cars, stock cars, refrigerator and fruit cars. The gondola cars include the sanding cars, cinder cars, ballast cars, various types of the hoppers cars. Some of these doors allow the escapement of the cargo through the floor of the car, while the others have the doors that open to the side and allow the cargo to escape by or be ejected while through the side. These cars are made in three general types: wood and composite, part wood and part steel, and all steel cars. Alright, varieties of repairs. The variety of the repairs that any one class of the cars, and so which the two, that no two cars are repaired exactly alike unless they are completely rebuilt. Therefore, it may be seen with the carman must having the ingenuity of the cope with a different set of problems regarding his work on each car that has the repair. With the variety of the repairs is more the variety of the cars upon which he works. Some of these cars are listed there, peculiarities, and explained below. Our figure 1 shows a boxcar received for repairs. Alright, varieties of wood freight cars are box, cinder, express refrigerator, flat refrigerator, sand, wood, citrus, circus, coal, bunk, coal, supply, poultry, tank, stock, pickle, drop bottom gondolas, fruit, national dump, automotive, heart convertible furniture, caboose, and horse. Work equipment: snow plows, steam shovels, wedge plows, derrick cars, sweepers, weed burners. Sand plows, test weight cars, plow spreaders, ledger wood cars, and pull pile drivers. All steel cars, tank, 70-ton high side hopper, solid bottom gondola box, drop bottom gondola, automobile hopper bottom and furniture. Composite cars are steel underframe box, coal, hopper, heart, convertible, sand, national dump, flat, cinder, poultry, stock, horse, fruit, automobile, and furniture, and caboose. Steel frame box, coal, stock, horse, fruit, automobile, and furniture, sand. Our figure 2 shows the repairing of a steel underframe of the gondola car. Alright, peculiar work involved with repairing various types of the cars. Each different varieties of the car has its own peculiar feature. The freight car men have to know the peculiar feature of each of the car, the shape, the size, the different parts, how they should be put together and taken apart, both in regard to the matter of the structural requirements, safety of himself, and the men working with him. Although it can be easily required a great deal of the knowledge of the skill. Refrigerator car. There are cars different with the ordinary box in several ways. One of the most important is the fact that the refrigerator cars has many layers. The floor, walls may be with wood and paper, and insulation between some of these layers. These are also air and airspace, the course of the prevent conduction of the heat and keep the contents of the car cool. The side of the car are built into the layers and file with the sheeting of the paper, the felt paper, and 3/8 of an inch sublining post of the braces, inside sublining paper, felt and paper, lining stripe with the paper lining, making an all 5 to 6 inch wall of the floor is about 9 inches thick and cased the floor with, however, the most insulation goes between the sills. This is involved the cutting of the felt and the paper and all the other kinds of the insulation into 7 sections. The shapes and size will fit between the different sills. There are 4 different widths of the insulation strips that have to be cut this way. Alright, in the roof of the car, the layers from the inside of the car up there as follows: ceiling paper strip, 3/8 of an inch wood insulation paper, felt paper, 3/8 of an inch wood insulation paper, outside car lines, per lines, ridge pole bar, board roof, tar plastic paper, metal board on top of the roof, making thickness in all of about 9 inches of the center tapering down to about 5 inches on the sides. Special care must be taken to see that all of the car's insulation fit together tightly and accurate, otherwise there would be leakage for the cold air, loss of ice, and spoiling of the cargo. There are additional differences between the ordinary boxcars and refrigerator cars. One of the comes in the roof of the construction. The roof is built with the hatch boxes, which are over the opening of the ice boxes at the end of the car. There are 4 conveniences of putting the ice in the ice box. The opening of the car with heavily insulated with a hatch plug with a hatch cover that has a fixture attached for making it possible to open the angle of the desired ventilation. Your icebox. The car man required to build the icebox at both ends of these cars. In some of these cars, the icebox mechanism is quite complicated. As the entire front of the icebox can be raised and fastened in the position and to the ceiling of the car, thus making the bunker where the ice is kept available for space and storing the cargo where the ice is not used. Figure 3 shows the refrigerator car roof showing the hatch covers. Your doors. The side doors of refrigerator cars differ from the ordinary boxcar side doors in so much that they are 2-door opening on each side of the swing of the hinges instead of sliding. They are about 6 inches thick and heavy insulated, but the edges are padded to prevent admittance of the air to the car where the doors are closed. Some of the padding could be called upholstery. The small coil springs are passed from the edge of the door in order to keep the padding of the resilient. But the door fixtures also much different from those of the ordinary boxcars that must be applied with the properly for that they will not hold the doors enclosed tightly. Other cars. Furniture cars are generally 50 feet long with 14 feet high, but the car size is sprung out with a square. Thus, stress from the service comes down to the shop from the repairs with the body badly out of shape. The carman must be familiar with the method of straightening the body of this car. After the car body has been straightened, some of the rods and applied with the roof of the braces, 6 numbers, one of which runs through each of the corner of the car diagonally across it to the side plate about 5 feet from the car from the inside of the doorpost. There are 2 other diagonal braces running from the point from the severe suspension diagram meets with the side plate with the opposite side plate with the opposite side of the door. The fitting of the braces required for the good deal of the car. The importance because of the care much be of the train which tends to throw out of the car out of shape. Our figure 4 shows the furniture car received with repairs. In so much of the distance from the floor of the ceiling of the car is about 10 feet, but the carman must build a scaffold inside of the car reaching overhead to perform the work. On the express refrigerator cars used with the passenger train. So the freight car must be familiar with the passenger car type of the coupling and uncoupling arrangements, also known as the method of repairing the buffer attachment that these cars have. The buffering system consists of the two cylinders, which are the cast integral with the bull body buffering casting over the car, in which the two larger double coil springs over the fitted with the steel buffer plate. On the wooden gondola car, the carman must know that the method of renewing one or more of the side planks without the removing of all of them, how to jack up the side planks and stakes in order to renew the side sill, the routing of the wood with the core routing of the steel depends on the partly of the character of the cargo. Sand coal, for instance, each of the holes with the moisture intends with the rot with the corrode with the car with it rather quickly. This is not especially true with the effect of the coal on steel, because there's not only the moisture in the coal, but also the sulfur, which is with the rapid corrosive effect of the metal. The floor of the steel car carrying coal will not last more than one half of the time that the floor of the wooden car will last. In addition to the ordinary bending of the racking of the cars while the road with the gondola cars are usually loaded with unloaded clamshells shoveled, and these frequently bang against the bottom of the side of the door, dent the cars and dent the car, or if it is wooden cars, break it. The repair of the poultry car, the carman must be able to apply with the wire netting. Also, numerous floors and compartments together with the racks for the troughs which hold water and grain, which poultry is fed with the transit. In repairing stock cars, they has the most knowledge of the application of hay racks and the side rails, and to prevent the cattle from breaking doors and pushing them out of the slots. In repair of the drop bottom gondola cars and national dump cars has been he must be able to repair the good door closing and locking mechanism, which one of the some cars and very complicated with the repairing of the hard convertible and sand cars have the understanding of the side door and operating mechanism. The general consists of the bar half of the full length of the car with the offsets each of the door so that they will return to the ratchet lever at the end of the car with these offsets are brought against the casting on each side of the door. The door is equipped with a heavy pawl of the lock with this operating bar in place against the bar extend with the length of the car on the outside then about the height of the top of the side sill, the offset of the bend of the bar opposite of each side of the car. Each side of the door can be made with the press against the door, which hinges at the top of the closing, so that its cargo cannot escape. In order to lock this in place and bar in place against the door and the pawl, which is the flat casting, somewhat pier-shaped, hung on the pivot through the top, is turned with the door, wedging the locking bar into the position. To open the door for the pawl, even each of the door was to be turned back of the pivot, allowing the bar to be turned with the lever at the end of the car, which withdraws the pressure of the bar, offsets from each of the door. At times, the circus cars, some of the come to the shop with the repairs. The carman should be able to prepare the cage of the animal with the ventilator, with the other special parts of the car, and serve with the preparing of the bunker cars. Manufacture of the bunk and lockers also apply with the metal wash stands and water coolers that go in these cars. When a supply car is repaired with the car, manufacture the various side bins and drawers that are needed in a car, and the serve with the distributing the necessary to carry on the locomotive and track repairs the small points of the railroad system, and the repair of the tanker car has applied with the head blocks within which the tank rests with the properly applied with the straps around the tank so that it will not break loose and roll off the car. A pickle car, usually in a flat car, have with a vats built upon it, holding pickles that work with requires the carman to have the skill necessary to construct a watertight wooden vat. In the repair of the fruit car, he understands the repairing of the side screen doors, also application repair of the numerous painted ventilators with which these cars are equipped with. Some of the ventilators are quite complicated, mostly properly applied, but we will not be good working order. In the repair of automobile car, he would build and apply with the end of the cars with the under the runways, the loading of the unloaded automobiles in a sustaining manner so that it would, despite the abuse of the subjection and loading and unloading of the cars, they will be in condition to be closed with tightly. In repair of the house cars, he must be able to manufacture, stall portions, drink troughs, and hay and out racks. Figure 5 shows a single track snow plow. In the repair of snowplows, he must have a significant mechanical skill with the tools of the tools that apply with the covered sheeting, which is common with the cars, most apply with the tightly behind against the metal cutting edge of the plow. We now know that the job of the building requires the skill equivalent of the application of the sheeting of the repair of the snowplows. Like equipment of the carman should be able to manufacture and apply with the doors and the windows sash, which part with the equipment and hanging of the doors, for they must apply with the hinges and handles, knobs, and locks. When snow sweepers need to repair, he must be able to remove the imply with the brushes, repair the parts with the mechanism for the operating with the car that's required for the repair of the rotary snow plows. He must be able to repair the ballast spreaders, which have the large spreading plank with either side of the car fastened to either the car heavy hinges of the casting supported with the end of the plank of the top of the car and the heavy rod about 1 1/2 of the inch of the diameter of the ballast spreaders for the are used to spread it to car load ballast and they have been dumped on the track for the purpose of filling on the construction work. The carman must repair pile drivers. All of the wooden booms and slide blocks of the hammers must be repaired and constructed by him. The booms are sometimes between 50 and 60 feet length and are timbered approximately 14 to 14 inches heavier. They must repair the booms and lifting mechanisms of the steam shovel and clam shells. Also construct cabins around the steam engine and boilers over this type of the work equipment. Figure 6 shows the repairing of the pile driver. In the building and repair of the derrick cars, then use the construction work with the carman is able to casting the boom with the cables, blocks, and tackle other parts of the derrick car with the exemption of the steam boiler and steam engine for the carmen understand all of the stress and the strains involved with the operating with these type of the cars in order to be able to detect the weakness in the blocks and tackle any other parts of the dead rick where vary construction, being the 5 or more types of the dead ricks that each of these cars must be familiar with. The carman must be able to repair cars that are used as a weed burner. They require equipped with the fuel oil projectors that are held with the rear of the car with the framework and cover the space for the 9 feet square on the right of the way. These burners are lighted and the flow of fuel oil is continued forwards through the compressed air which comes from an air pump operated with the power transmitted by the gears and in some cases the bells from the axle for the moving of the cars. One of the most complicated cars is the test weight car, which is the car used to test the accuracy of all of the scales on the railroad system. The car is made up of the numerous number of the parts which must be fitted together, applied with the greater accuracy. The journal bearing and the rolling bearings on the axle car are adjusted so finely that the car can be moved in unaided efforts with the scale tester. The cars are weighing 40 to 50 tons. Carman build and repairs cabooses sometimes as part of the construction similar to parts of the passenger train car. The most prominent characteristic is the cupola. This is built above the roof line. The cupola is made with the window in order that a member of the train crew sitting inside can see the entire length of the train. Alright, difference found in cars of the same type. The above list of the given idea with the variety of the type of the cars the carman constructs the repair, however, an outline of the type of the cars alone does not adequately picture the variety of the work performed on the freightman car. We must consider the difference of dimension of the cars in some type of the classification. For instance, there are 33-foot, 36-foot, 40-foot box cars, and like a difference in length we will be found in any other type of the cars. Not only with the cars of one type of the subdivided, but they according to the length of the heights of the widths also differ. Besides dimensional differences with the group of the car of the one general type of the differences in applying for the 1,000 of the car, same type of the numbered serial may be equipped with 4 different types of couplers. 500 cars may be having the friction draft gear with the 500 and a half transom draft gear. So the same 1,000 cars may have the 3 types of the trucks and then 3 types of roofs. Figure 7 is a Cardwell friction draft gear. Standard equipment misnomer, which may be used to describe the freight equipment because the carman is repairing the finds. If the standard of almost not two alike requires a great deal of the study experience to select the proper parts of material for the repair of the main the difference of the car on any one road. Each of these must add largely percent of the foreign cars rapidly, nearly all without aid of blueprints. Each foreign car can be considered to be as an added variety to any parts of repair points that they form 50% of the number of the cars repaired. Figure 8 shows the Pennsylvania car rebuilding the Northwestern Railroad carman without aid of the blueprints. Tools. The performance of the work to be done with the car requires the use of the number of the tools which are listed here within. 1. The breast drill. 2. The bracings, 1 small, 1 large. 1 set of shipment auger bolts, 5/16, 7/16, 9/16, 11/16, 13/16, 15/16, 1 and 1/16, 1 and 3/16. Expansion bit, 1 countersink, 1 claw hammer, 2 machinist hammer, 2 pounds, 1 small hatchet, 1 carpenter's adze, 1 socket set of brace, wrenches, 3/8 inch, 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, a monkey wrench, 1 14-inch Stilson wrench, 1 jack plane, 1 smooth plane, 1 saw number 8, and 1 rip saw number 6, 1 panel saw, 1 keyhole saw, 1 hacksaw, 1 set saw, 1 saw set saw, saw files clamps to hold the saw while filing. One set of framing chisel, 3/8 inch, half inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inches. Two gouges, 1.5 inch, 1 inch. One claw bar, two screwdrivers, three screwdriver bits, 3/8 inch, 1.5 inch, 5/8 inch. One large pliers, one tinner split shears, one large square, one tri-square, two rules, 2 inch, 2 foot, and 6 foot. One oil stone, one oil can, one lead pencil, one chalk line, one two center punches, three nail sets, one carpenter's apron, one tool box. Almost every man has 2 toolboxes. One nail box from 8 to 10 sizes of nails. One sawhorse and one miter box, 7 with S wrenches of 3/8 inch and 2 to 2 inches, about 3 1/4 inches. Lumber supplied by the company. One pincher bar. Two cold chisels, heavy hammers supplied by the company, coupler, wheel, axle, gauge, chippler, chisel, salt bars. 2 ladders, one large work outside of the car, one small inside of the work. Air drill machine. These are movable and air carried around about 50 feet of the air hose is attached. All tools and machinery for the freight car men usually are movable. 7 jacks, 4 lever jacks, same size, 1 small jack applying brasses, 2 screws jackets. To raise the load car of the car is finding it necessary to use the 2 large hydraulic jacks. Alright, when the repairs to be made in this setting with the jacking up of the car, man finds it necessary to use the 4 to 8 horses of the trestle according to the weight of the car. Operating the air drill. The carman must know how to connect the air drill to set it up, adjust it, and oil clean it, and keep it in good condition. He must understand the method of using with an angle, the boring attachment, the extension of the universal joint in order to bore the holes in confined places do not emit the air machine itself. The boring splice slab bolt holes on the cars equipped with the Williams and Pierce draft gear, the air motor, which is the angle of the boring attachment. Even with the attachment, it's impossible to bore the holes without using 2 lengths of the drill bit on account of having 7.5 inches in space between the center sills and the same between the center and intermediate sills. It is very dangerous when boring these holes with the bore motor in its angle attachment to have the inexperienced man handling the motor, for if they are boring through 6 inches of sill nails and or struck through the bit and does not clear as it should, the motor is liable to slip and have from the grasp of the auger and make it strike him in its catch and his clothing, thereby causing possible injury. In using the motor to bore these holes, the carman has so little room in which the work with the borings are blown into his face by the exhaust. He's responsible when he takes the machine out for the return of the good condition. This is true for all the equipment, the machines, that appliance for the tools for the owner, which the company furnishes. The naturally responsible for his own tools, the connection up any of these tools, the appliances that worked on with the compressed air. He has connected them in a way such that none of the air pressure will be wasted. He has to make a tight connection because of if it were any leaks of the effects of the air pressure of the on the line throughout the shop, which would be resulting in there not being sufficient air work to the similar appliances in other parts of the shop. Frequency use of the tools and appliances. Horse trestles are used constantly, ladders next to the frequency, and then this and his own hand tools, especially with the hammers, wrenches, wood chisels, rules, braces, bits, pencils, saws, planes, and squares. Nearly all of his own tools he uses regularly every day. The tools which he uses only or occasionally are air tool expansion bolts, expansion bits and punches, and nail sets. Weight of the machine and appliances. The weight of the machines and tools in some of the files. The heaviest of them is the air drill. It weighs about 75 pounds. One may can carry it. One man can usually carry a large horse of the trestle, but in some shops they are made extremely large and are reinforced with iron, requiring the efforts of the 2 men to move it into the position. It requires the 2 to 4 men to carry the hydraulic jacks. Usually one man operates each of the jacks, but it's good practice to always use 2 men on a jack, especially on heavy cars. Tools, expenses. The carman must, from time to time, replace any of his tools that become lost with worn out, or broken. The average cost for the keeping the possession of the tools that he requires in his work would be about $45 a year. In the present time, the full $25 of the expense incurred with the keeping of the supply of the wood bits, chisels, because they are broken frequently. The original cost of the present day, the January 21st, January 1921, of the complete set of tools such as the carman expected with the $135, the $11 of this original cost of the bits in which he acquires. This estimates of the very conservative one of the present market practices. The foregoing estimate was made up with detailed items, and so much of the car has supplied with his own tools. If he loses or breaks his tool while at work, he has to go get these tools from the store at his own time, thereby losing some of the time from his work being docked from his pay, paying accordingly. Alright, kinds of material handled. The following woods are used for the freight car repairs: oak, fir, cypress, poplar, pine, maple, occasionally, and ash. Different kind of woods are mentioned about the vary in respect of the hardness and corrosion of the grain, frequency of the nozzling, quantity of the resins, liability of the split, weight and tension strength, and compression of the strength and hardness. All of these different qualities require the special care of the use of the tools in order that they work, and they should be done properly, and tools kept from the damage of breakage. Therefore, the carman has to know the different qualities of each of these kinds of the wood, how they act, and when they are using different edge of the tools, such as saws and chisels, etc. Sample an instance of wood that is in some localities somewhat is in the winter months. Oak and end sills are received for the application for the car, while the frozen in the condition and necessity of the grade of the car with the carman and use of the bits generally is necessary for him to thaw out a hole, and with a red hot bolt, and he bores it. In addition to those different kinds of wood the carman is constantly using, he also uses the following kinds of material which will go into the work: nails, lag screws, cutter keys, tacks, ordinary wood screws, wrought iron bolts, nuts and rods, wrought iron straps, and malleable iron, steel, and gray iron castings. Your car parts. The carman prepares all the car parts with assembly them in orderly wooden 50-foot flat 50-foot box cars with approximately 1,100 wooden pieces. Nearly all the parts are handled with and cars undergo heavily and rebuilt repairs. These the variety of 30 different shapes, and all this is some of the various makes of draft rigging and the couplers which a carman is required to repair and apply is shown below. Figure 9 shows the PART002 3K draft gear. Your draft rigging starts as a Butler, Graham, Thornburg, Hennessy, Friction, and Bradford. Your Thornbury tandem, minor tandem, minor friction, William Pierce, Farlow, Westinghouse, Cardwell, Murray, Sessions, and Republic. Figure 10 shows Republic Friction draft gear. The couplers D-type AAR, 4th style Sharon SH&H, Tower Janae, Climax JNA-X, Major JNA Miller, Melrose RE Janney, Latribute Gold 3 types, Lion Hine Pitt, Kelso Simplex Washburn Trojan. Alright, there are a great many varieties of the roofs used with the boxcar of the carman. Must be familiar with the method of applying all of them. One of the roof, the single board with the roof, which consists of the single board nailed to the purlines and the side of the plates, are half of the width of the car. There is a double-boarded roof with a double-boarded plastic roof. With the roof is the same as the single-board roof, with the exception of the carman must apply with a layer of plastic paper on the top of the single board of the roof, and again with the cover of the entire board of the roof. Then the number of the inside of the metal roof, which the roof have the metal sheets on about 32 to the car, which is applied with directly above the pure lines. Each sheet is coated with a tar-like solution, over which is applied with a layer of plastic paper on the top, which is nailed in a single layer board roof. Alright, there are a number of outside metal roofs which consist of the single board roof nailed on the pour lines of the coat over the tar. Similar solutions, one layer of plastic paper on the top of the metal with the roof sheets. These roofs are usually flexible and held to the cars. Figures for 11 shows applying the roof pure lines. By clamps and side plate nails with the rigid pole, the nails, however, that do not go through the roof sheets, but are through the caps of the fit over the joint between any of the two roof sheets. The rigid pole with the cap of the metal, with extending with the entire length of the car, like the caps on the roof sheets, it is an interlocking which allows the movement with the car when the car is under stress and is turning with a sharp curve. The extent to which any of these roofs perform the functions for which they are applied rests entirely on the mechanical ability of the care used by the carman in applying them. Figure 12 shows the flexible metal roof. Knowledge of car parts. The carman must know the standard and always use the special size of all these parts. However, he knows that that they fit together in what order they must be built upon and taken part of the repair. And knowledge of this in order is essential for the carman's work. With importance note that it's only for the strength and the life of the car, but also in order that they may be built and repaired with the safety of the men working for it. For instance, its parts are taken in the wrong order if it means that the roof of some of the heavy timbers will fall and injury, killing some of the men working around the car. The mechanics dismantling the car must take proper precautions provided with adequate support for all parts of the danger of falling while they are repairing the car. The most of the lumber required for cars repairs is received by the carman already milled these and cut into standard shapes and sizes. But on arrival of these parts of the car, the mechanic must complete the shaping and finishing of them in order to suit the individual requirements of the job he has to perform. In some of the repair points in which there is no mill, the carman finds it's necessary to mill and frame all of his own lumber by hand. A sample job of this kind would be much cutting the tenons on the post ends of the mortises and the sills into which these tenons must fit. Alright, this shows your tenon and extension and the grain and sill. Figure 13, post tension, extension, sill gain, and mortise. At nearly the small repair points, there are no mill facilities. The carman must frame all the material from the rough and the usually oversized lumber, and sometimes he must he is compelled to carry his material as far as half a mile. The draft raking of the car is a mechanism most of the frequent need for the repair and most important for the running of the train. The defect of these parts would probably be caused by the train part involved in service to cause the delay of the shipment. The drafting rigging consists of the coupler, which is held in place between the two draft timbers and by a system of springs and yoke and followers, which are held with the draft casting. An attached plate with the American Standard boxcar, see page 31, figure 97, number 79 shows the coupler pocket with the number 890, and the 81 shows the spring with the following plate, the number 82 fitted in the yoke of the front of the behind of the spring. These following flowers fit in which is called here in the coupler stop. Number 77, this coupler attachment, including the yoke and spring of the followers, weighed approximately 350 pounds, requires the two men and a jack to put into position to be fastened. The carman has the responsibility seeing the bolts of the drafting casting coupler to stop the fasten securely and are securely depends on whether or not the coupler will pull the fastening one in the surface of the application of the coupler. All these bolts are not visible with the car inspector foreman. For these proper, the application depends entirely on the integrity of the carman. The number 59 plate shown is known as the body truss rod. There is usually 8 of these rods to a car. They come in half sections that held together in the center with the truss rod with the turnbuckle and shown with the plate the number 90. The carman usually bends the truss rods for application. Each of the half section of the rod is bent with the two different angles of the suit the requirement of the car to be which is to be applied. If it is not bent with the proper angle under the stress and the strain of the load, the truss rod will work loose. As turn of the buckle into the center of the works in one direction, it can be seen with that the threads on the end of the truss rod, which was turned buckle fits, are opposite and are opposite. That is one of the right-handed thread and the other left-handed. If the carman makes a mistake applying with the truss rod, he will probably find that at the end of the sill he was applying the truss rod nut that he has left-handed thread to apply the nut to, whereas there are no nuts with the left-handed thread. Number 100 and number 103 show the brake cylinder and reservoir of the car. With these applied with the carman, he must know the torch with the engine for the car with the piston rod must travel. Figures numbers 218 and 224 show the side sill step and then the grab irons. The safety appliance must be applied with the conform to the interstate commerce rules. The carman must be acquainted with the standard method of applying these grab iron sill steps in order to protect the railroad from liability of fine violating law pertaining to the safety appliances, and he must also apply with them in such a way that they will not be in a menace to the lives of the trainmen or others who may have the occasion to use them. The safety appliances regulations will be more fully explained later. Alright, applying the slide door. The number 190 shows the side door track from which the side door of the boxcar is suspended. The truck must be applied with the bore properly in order for that door make a free fit securely to the car, but mechanically almost to the sea. The slide door rollers, number 192, operate and easily along the door track in order that the door may be open and closed. If the side door is not fastened at the proper height on the side of the car, it will probably strike against the side door guide. Number 196. some of the rest thereon, which would be make the door almost impossible to open and close as the case may be. For the forcing of the open of the doors that are improperly applied has as much to do with the short life of the boxcars and side door. Also, the damage of the shipments caused with the door not giving the proper protection. There are a great many of the different types of the cars, doors, and appliances. Safety appliances. The safety appliances rule of the Interstate Commerce Commission prescribable standard location dimensions of the manner applying with all the car parts having the influence of the safety of the employee of the travelers upon the railroad. The structural differences and differential type of the car made it necessary to provide the different regulations governing the different types. Therefore, Carmen must be familiarize himself with the safety appliances rules and give them the boxcar, tanker cars, hopper cars, gondola cars, etc. The space does not permit the explaining of the safety appliance for all classes of the car, but outline of the regulation given by the boxcar was given an idea of the knowledge of the rules of the carman must have. We will assume that the railroad supervisor forced with them look after the responsible for the material dimensions of the safety appliances. It can be readily be granted also that the carman must take the care of and responsibility of their location on the car and manner of their application. Handbrake rigging. On the boxcar, the handbrake rigging shaft must be located on the car end, but not less than 17 inches, no more than 22 inches from the center of the car. There must be not less than 4 inches of the clearance around the rim of the brake wheel. The outside edge of the brake wheel must be not less than 4 inches nearer the car than the inside face of the knuckle. When closing the coupler horn against the muffler plate of the brake of the shaft is supported, but must be secured with the bolts and rivets less than 1/2 of the inch of diameter of the brake shaft. The ratchet must be fixed so that cannot move on the shaft. The brake ball with the pivot must be built, and the rivet of the least 5/8 of an inch in diameter. The top of the brake shaft, which holds down the brake wheel, must be further secured by the nut locker and the counter key on the shaft, and must be riveted over it. The brake step must be not less than 28 inches in and the outside edge is not less than 8 inches from the face of the car. Like the brake wheel, the outer edge of the brake step must be at least 4 inches near the car than in the inside of the face of the coupler knuckle. When closed with the coupler back against the butt for the brake step must have the 2 metal supports and secured but no lighter than a 1/2 inch bolts or rivets. Running boards on the most fastened with the saddles with the bolts of the screws. The running boards must not be less than 6 inches, no more than 10 inches of the vertical plane parallel to the end of the car, passing through the inside of the face of the coupler knuckle with an enclosed with the coupler horn against the buffer. If the running board extends more than the 4 inches from the edge of the car roof, it must have the bracket support. The extension one of the cars having the outside of the metal roof. Running boards must have extensions to the side of the car over the side ladders, roof hand holders. Over each of the ladder location, one of the roof hand holder with the grab iron must be applied with not less than 8 or no more than 15 inches from the edge of the roof. The side end handle holds. Each of the car must have the 4 horizontal side hand holds. These must be not more than 8 inches from the end of each of the side of the car. 4 more horizontal hand holds required on each of the car, but they must be not more than 8 inches from the side of the car. The horizontal hand holds must not be less than 16th and no more than 24 inches in the length. The cars having the outside insill must have the 24th inch in hand hold across the center of the end of the car with not less than 30 no more than 60 inches above the sill. On the end of the sill near each of the side of the both ends of the car, there must be one hand hold located no more than 16 inches from the side of the car. On the cars having the opposite outside end sills, one of the vertical hand holders required on each of the end of the opposite of the ladder, no more than 8 inches from the side of the car, not less than the 18 inches of the length. Handholds with extension of end sills, handholds, and letter threads must not be less than 24 inches and no more than 30 inches above the center line of the coupler. All handholds must have at least 2 inches of clearance. All right, side end ladders. There shall be one ladder on each of the car, no more than 8 inches from the right of the end of the car, one end of each end of not more than the 8 inches from the left side of the car. The maximum space between the ladder treads and the 19 inches. The spacing of the ladder treads should be uniformly. The top of the ladder tread must be not less than 12 inches, not more than 8 inches from the roof at the eaves. Side and end ladder treads must be coincided with the variation of 2 inches. Uncoupling levers. Each car must have the one coupling lever on the left side of each of the end of the car. The lever handle must be not more than 12 inches from the side of the car. End of the handles must be extended less than 4 inches from below the bottom of the end sill and constructed so that at least 2 inches of the clearance is allowed around the handle, and drop of the handle must be at least 12 or not over 15 inches overall. The coupler height. On a standard gauge track, the height of the rail to the center line of the coupler must not be less than 31.5 inches and no more than 34.5 inches. Your sill steps. One of the sill steps is required near each of the end of the side of the car, not more than 18 inches from the end of the car. Of the sill steps, all handholds shall be fastened not less than one of the half-inch rivets to one of the half-inch bolts riveted. Every railroad has found it necessary to have the blueprints made showing the location methods of applying the safety appliances to its own car. Some of the classes of the car railroads have found it difficult to devise standards that conform with the requirements of the law. The Carmen repairing of the car does not receive specific direction from the foreman as to the location of these appliances. Is part of the trade to know that these things. The foreman in inspection of the car when ready for the service center must give the particular attention for the safety appliances, but generally has not the time to look over every detail on every car. Alright, working conditions of hazards. The carman is required to perform his work with the daylight or in the shop while the lights are suspended so far overhead that they do not light up the interior. They do not light up the interior of the car, nor do they shed any light underneath it. The winter months before he completes his work is particularly twilight on the outside. The working outside of the carman is required to work in the snow and the rain and mud and slush caused by these conditions. The material in which he works also becomes wet or covered with mud lying on the ground. Working inside while shielded with the front four-wheel force for the wind with the shield with the rain. From the rain, the advantage is sometimes offset with the droughts that run through with the shop. Whenever the outside of in the shop ground is floor and very dusty, the condition is made worse because every car that can be repaired is the landing with the dust and generally with the remains of some material of the car that has been carried in transit. Some of these being coal, lime, sulfur, and cemented grain. His drinking water is most of the shop is quite near him, but in the small outside points, he must walk greater distances for water and do with it without. In small repair points, there are no toilets, which are amplified, provided within the larger shops. Crowded repair tracks. At the time when the railroad shops are exceptionally busy, the repair tracks are crowded with the cars more than they are normally capacity. That means that after the track is jacked up, the trucks push to either end of the car. The carman is working on the end of the car that requires to climb over and around the truck. He also has to lift his coupler and end sills and heavy parts of the kind over the trucks, which are constantly in the way of doing this work. The carman is working considerable dangers of the serious accidents due to the falling of the car off of the horses and falling the ends of the sills, couplers, and other heavy parts. Also, there is a danger of being struck by flying particles of metal, etc. The carman is required to make a light repairs to interchange points. In most shops, there are minute signs to take repair of the cars on the tracks, which are a great deal. The switchman has done. He is liable for serious injury because of the cars being moved while he is working around and under them. Alright, importance of the blue flag. The carman is supplied with the blue flag, which is required to place at the end of end of any of the string of the cars, which is working on. In most cases, the flag is to have the plain wooden staff, which is put on behind the end of the handhold and is held in place with a wooden wedge. The switching of the crew neglects to see if the flag moves on the car, but the carman is generally seriously injured. One case of an incident due to the failure of the switching crew to see there's a blue flag due to the blue flag having fallen from the end of the car. The resulted with the killing of the two carmen. These two men were experienced with carmen. We were repairing cars that were liable to remove the very best of our knowledge. The considerably long experience of these two men in the work, we will suppose that they have placed their blue flag on the end of the car on which they were working. The switching of the crew, however, to move them on the cars, with the result of one man was run over and trying to pull it out, pull him from danger. His partner was badly maimed. 1 hour later, died, and the blue flag, which was intended to remain on the end of the car, was found on the ground some 25 feet from the scene of the accident. Another similar case, the carman connected up the air hose when the car was removed and had his leg amputated between the ankle and the knee. A freight repair shop is littered with material and metal parts which may make difficult to securely place the horses from the support of the scaffold plank. The scaffold must be placed so there will be no danger in falling. The carman must use the care of laying tools on the scaffold so that they will not fall down and cause injury to some of the one working below it. Injuries to eyes. Most of the work with the bottom of the car requires the mechanic to look up the upward and frequently occurs with a small pitcher particle of the rust, dirt, and coal falling and lodged in his eyes. Some of the railroads arrange for the monthly report of the personal injuries, which usually show that some of the 30% of them are injuries to the eyes. Most of these occur with the freight carman. Aside with every present possibility, serious injuries, serious accidents, ailments to get his local results with the working conditions described here, and the carman often develops a serious hernia from the weight of the work done in an awkward position. The workman, when a carman is injured with the performance of the duty, is sometimes a month after his return to work before he is able to collect the compensation that the law provides for him. During the time he is out of work, he must get along with as best as he can without assistance from his employers. Personal qualifications, responsibility. The carman foreman generally has a considerable force of the supervisor for the considerable number of the cars to prepare under his supervision. He generally marks out the parts of the freight car which requires the renewal of the method of performing the work left entirely to the carman. Probably he made only time that he receives the specific directions, and if after he has made an error in the judgment, has received the censure for the censure it. Nearly every matter pertaining to the repairs of the car, the safety of the best method of making them, the carman generally uses his own discretion of the judgment. When the car is completed, but the foreman makes the written record of the repairs having been made with the inspection of the workmanship. Most of the parts are visible with the proper repairing of the parts, but he cannot see the left of the honestly with the carman. Drawing a record. The mechanic must be able to make of his own daily time slip. Also makes simple sketches written of the dimension. He must be able to read the ordinary blueprints. Mechanical must be also count up and order the number of the bolts for the various sizes of the required. Some of the repair points for the required to keep the notebook record of the material that he uses for repairing the car, especially a record of the number of the castings he applies. In the keeping the record of the casting, he must show the pattern of the number of every piece of the need of the muscular strength. As a freight car building, repairing the properly for the heaviest kind of the work of the mechanics are required to perform without the aid of the machinery. It will be understood that the carman must possess a great deal of muscular strength. He requires a steady muscular effort during his entire workday, as he continually handling the heavy metal with wooden parts for the car. The majority of the freight cars that are repaired where there are no appliances except for ordinary jacks provided with lift these parts. All of these cars or any one of the repair track are generally expected to be completed with ready with the service for the same day. While working with the high speed accomplish this, and the carman must concentrate all of his thinking faculties onto his work and to avoid making mistakes that would be delay the completion of the car. The carman must have the endurance to perform his work with the day-to-day, with the possess the health and constitution to stand with the rigors of the weather, and while working with the outside and generally great many of the carmen suffer the rheostadium contracted while working with the wet and snow. Alright, difficulties in using edge tools. Mechanics doing some of the classes working with their edge tools on the materials they have held in the device and laid out on the benches, but the carman must be cut off the scarves again and fit with the mortises and tensions while stopping under the car with the place while the motion required to perform the work and the hampered with the proximity of the parts in the car. Many of the carmen are able to use the wood and chisels accurately with either right or the left hand. Versatility of the carman. The car mechanic must be extremely versatile because of the great variety of the cars upon which he is required to work. The evolution of wooden steel's construction of the equipment requires the carman to be able to change the wood to steel and carve on the same day to carry out the steel work in the same efficient manner that performs the work on the craft. On the wooden cars, the repair of the steel equipment is described in Section C. Section B. Working on wooden freight cars.